Good morning and welcome to this week's reading. Today we are going to be doing a variation of our December spread, which is the qualities of Jupiter spread. This spread is going to be using, similar to the original, qualities of Jupiter that will be able to be explored as far as what the topic is. So the theme for today or the purpose for this reading is to use the correspondences of Jupiter to gain a deeper insight into our pathways to blessings and expansions, because that's really what Jupiter is all about. It's the home of our blessings. It's a space of expansion. So the guiding question that I will be shuffling into the cards today is, what can Jupiter teach us about to pathways opening pathways to our blessings and expansions? Now, I kept the same amount of cards from the original spread and switched some of the correspondences that they used, as well as rephrased some of the questions for the ones that I did keep. So, what can Jupiter teach us about opening pathways to our blessings and expansions? Good. Cards. And we have 8 cards today. So I'll lay them out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there we go. And just a quick reminder that the spread is coming from 365 Tarot Spreads by Sasha Graham. All right. And our first card is looking at good fortune. And the question that this position holds is, what is blocking my path to favorable and aligned opportunities? And here we have the star card. The star card is telling us that it's important for us to be open to the universe's ability to manifest for us. Because the star is all about making wishes, right? There are things that we can do, but in the cosmic sense of opening up to the favorable and aligned opportunities that are waiting there, the universe will know what is favorable to us. The universe will know what is aligned to us because the universe doesn't have any attachments to anything. So we might find that we are struggling with opportunities because we have a very closed minded view, or maybe we have expectations on what actually is going to be favorable and aligned to us. And because we're doing that, we're closing the opportunity for the expansiveness of the universe. Now, think about it. The universe has all of the knowledge, all of the opportunities, all of the ability to see. And us in our little human brains, we're very limited into how far we can see. And because we get really stuck in our routines, we get stuck in our point of view, we get stuck in our stories, it does become very difficult for us to step out of that and allow ourselves to be able to see opportunities and options that are, out there, or to understand that the opportunities and options that are showing up for us are showing up for a reason, even if we're not able to see the connection at this point. So we're starting off with our Jupiter qualities with a major arcana card that has infinite magical potential and manifestation opportunities. So that's really good to start going on. The next one is good health. And the question that goes with this is, what action can we take that will increase our health or our healthy opportunities? Wow, double the major cards. So here we have the Hermit, and the Hermit is saying it's time to take a step back and to reflect on your healing journey, to take a step back and to think about what the lessons are that you're learning and how can you embody them and integrate them into what you know to be good and healthy options and choices for you. I'll share a quick example of this. I just recently finished a 30-day anti-inflammatory protocol, and now I'm at the point where I'm starting the reintroduction of all the foods that had been eliminated. And I'm spending a lot of time looking at how my body's reacting to these new foods as well, they're not new, but as these foods are being reintroduced into my diet and understanding that, you know what, I knew ahead of time which foods my body reacted poorly to. And, going through it, I'm able to say, wow, well, during those 30 days, this was how I felt and this is what I enjoyed about it. And now questioning the importance or the value of reintroducing these foods that may be, counter to my wellness. And so that can only happen by having an experience and then taking the time to sit back from that experience and really explore, what does this mean for me? What are these options that I have to be able to sit and integrate? Like what are they that's showing up and how can I sit with them? And one of the other things that I'll say is it's really important to make the decisions for you. You can go to doctors, you can go to healthcare providers, which is very important. However, the information that you get from them, you still have to sit with it and see if it rings true, right? Like if you go to a physiotherapist and they give you exercises and you say, "Hey, every time I do this one exercise, I get this negative impact," you know, that's your body telling you something, and you have the right to be able to take it to them and say, I don't understand what's going on. This isn't right. I know this is not an exercise. And they can give you something different, or they can talk to you about it. And you can come to an understanding as to why something that's been recommended may not be what's right for you, right? If you think of supplements, a lot of people take supplements and they take it because that's what they're told to take in the media and from friends and all that kind of stuff, right? But sometimes a supplement is your body has a hard time. Iron, for instance, is one that some bodies just really have a hard time absorbing it in supplement form. And when you push your body to take something that is counterintuitive to what your body knows it wants and needs, then you can get into even more or different kinds of struggles and problems. So it's important, when we're looking at our health, that we are taking the time to sit with ourselves to be able to really look at what are the symptoms? What am I feeling? And what do I want to embody? What do I want my body to be? How do I want to? And for those of you that have weight issues, this might not be the right, but how do I want to grow into being the healthy person that I know that I can be? The next one we have is following that, we're moving into expansion. And so, where is your life opening up for expansion? What are the opening spaces? And so here we have the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is coming in with a very strong hitting, intuitive, and creative power. So if you sit, taking kind of that message from the Hermit, if you sit by yourself, you're going to start to find that there's a whole lot of creative potential that's coming up, that there's something inside of us that's ready to be birthed in the sense, but because it's the Queen of Cups, it's not a physical necessary manifestation. It is our creativity is looking for an outlet. Our creativity is saying, hey, we've been ignored long enough. It's time for you to really sink into the creativity. If you think of the Queen of Cups as the muse of creativity, as the muse of, community, she's reaching out and saying it's time to join with other people that are going to allow you to really nurture your creativity, to really allow you to understand what it is that you have that you can create and share with the world. And I always like to emphasize that creativity is more than just the arts, right? Like maybe you need, if you love buildings, right? Maybe it's time to find a community of architects or a community of designers that can allow you to really play with that creative spark that's inside of you that may have been pushed down because it's not part of, you know, earning a living or being part of a family or whatever it is, right? But the thing is our creativity now is calling for a community to help us take it to the next level. So that's where we're looking at expansion. The next one is faith. So, how can we grow our faith in something greater than ourselves? And we've got another cup card. So we've got the Queen followed by the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups is saying, trust with the innocence and the non-judgmental or non-biasness of a child, right? Because the pages are the young ones of the deck, but they also come with invitations, right? So you're being invited to reconnect with that inner child and to reconnect with that part of you that understands and knows that the world and the universe is full of magic. It's full of mystery. And, to get out and play with that, to play with your imagination. When I was teaching, there was an activity that I would give my students that was like take a line for a walk. And basically, you would start with a line and just draw, kind of scribble and doodle without taking your pencil off the paper. And this is what you're being asked, right? Is take your imagination for a walk, kind of sit and do. There's a lot of different ways that you can brainstorm or that you can play with your imagination. Stream of consciousness is one where you can do it in writing, where you just start writing and you write whatever comes into your brain without thinking, without processing. And then you go back and read it and see what the little nuggets are in there. You can do the same thing by just recording yourself and seeing what comes out. I kind of like to think of the Page of Cups in this sense of how I do my readings is I will just pull the cards and whatever comes out comes out. And sometimes I get to the end of a reading and I have no recollection really of what was said because I just allowed it to come out. And most of the time, whatever comes out when you allow it to come out that way, it hits. Sometimes you might have to look at it from a different perspective or a different angle. But remember that the cups are all about fluidity as well, right? So it's all about letting go. And we're going to go back here to our very first card, right? We're going to go back to the star card that says, let go of the expectations, let go of all the attachments that you have and just flow. And that's what, so far we've had three cups or three cards really connected to that water energy of flow. And the invitation here also is what kind of container are you allowing your creativity to be in? When we're looking at faith, what kind of container do you have in your faith, right? Like, are you in a very limited, narrow-minded faith community, or are you in a place where you're expanding out and looking at the world as a living, breathing entity that you can interact with and engage with? I would also like to say that faith in this context is not about a religion. It is about just having faith in something that is unseen, right? So it's having enough experiences with something to know that it's there, but not knowing how it works or not knowing everything in the context of it. That's what faith is all about. And so that's what we're being asked to do is get out and play and see what works and see what doesn't work without having to have the answer about why. Next, we move into philosophy. So, how can we create an aligned personal philosophy? My goodness, we have almost all the courts of the cups. And so, what the Knight of Cups is sitting here and saying to us is that, like, if you really want to have an aligned personal philosophy, you have to be willing to flow in the direction that your heart and your intuition is taking you. The only way you'll know you're aligned is if your intuition is on board, because if you're going with your head or if you're going out of alignment or if your philosophy is based on what someone else wants, your heart is not going to be there. You're not going to get those intuitive hits. Everything that you do is going to be, like walking through water. It's going to be hard. It's going to be slugging. It's going to be very, very difficult to find your way through. And so the Knight of Cups is saying, what you need to do right now is you need to allow yourself to be moved by the currents that are going through your life right now. The Knight's all about movement. It's all about movement and action. And so when we look at, the other cards that we have, the Queen and the Page, right? You've got invitations, you've got nurturing and creating a very safe and solid container. The Knight is saying now it's time to put that into action. It's time you've got the intuitive feelings, you're being invited out, and now go through and take the actions that you need, but make sure they always feel right. And when I talk about feeling right, it's like when you sit there and you go, here's something that I want to do. So I want to do a tarot reading. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Whereas if you go, well, I want to go out and I don't know, build a rock garden, right? It might not sit as well. So it's very important to be feeling your way, sit with it, right? Like the hermit is going to be a very big theme with everything, right? So sit with whatever it is that you feel called to do and see how that fits, see how that lands, especially because the hermit is all about our physical well-being. And so the hermit's the one that's really going to be able to say, this feels good. This is what the body wants. This is what's going to increase our health. Yes, let's go through and let's do this. The next one we have is optimism. And how can we be more open to seeing the good in the world? And I think that it's really important, especially when you're looking at growing your faith and having a personal philosophy that's supportive, that we really need to be able to see the good in the world. This is a very hard time for some people to be able to see that good, right? Like it's a hard world right now. And so having this ability to be able to see what's good in the world is going to be very, very important. And here we have the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands is saying that, there's a purification by fire almost that needs to happen. The aces to me are invitations in the sense of initiation. And for you to be able to see the good in the world, you have to be the good in the world. You have to embody the good in the world because we see what we want to see, right? And if we go back to like the faith question, right? To believe in something bigger than ourselves, we have to trust that there is something bigger than ourselves. And then we have to start looking for the blessings. We have to start looking for the way the universe is modifying things for us and accommodating for us and guiding us. And the Ace of Wands is very, very similar, but it's coming from our energetics. We have to align our energetics with the good that we want to see. If we're constantly sitting in a lower frequency of victimhood, of, you know, jealousy, of pettiness, of anything like that, if we're sitting in those lower frequencies, then of course we're never going to be able to see the good in the world because we're just attuning ourselves and attracting to ourselves all of these lower things. Now, it's important to remember that those things play a role, but what we want to be doing is we want to be cultivating and embodying the ability to see the beauty in the world, to see the wonder in the world, right? Like I look out my window every morning and I see all the birds and especially right now after it snowed, I see all the footprints of all the animals that have visited since the snow has come down. And I just see the beauty in that. I just see the wonder in that. And it makes me go, what else is out there? What else is possible? And so if I have that in my heart and I go out into the world, then when I go to the grocery store, especially this time of the year where it's super, super crazy, I'm more likely to see that beauty. I'm more likely to see that wonder and not necessarily focus on all of the crazy, chaotic things that are going on. So it's really important that we really tune into when we're looking at optimism, that we really start learning how to tune our energy field, how to attune ourselves to what it is that we want. So then we have generosity. And this is asking, how can we serve our community from the heart? And as much as abundance is about, just a lot of times when we think about abundance, we think about what we're receiving. But when you're abundant, you can also give freely and you can give without strings. And this is a really good season for us to really kind of look at that because when we think about gift giving in the holiday season, a lot of times there can be strings attached to the gifts that are given. There can be a lot of begrudgingness around the gifts that are given. And so it's really, really important for us to really give from the heart and to not get caught up in all of the why we should be giving. And this is something that's important too as well, because I think that whatever we're cultivating and growing as far as generosity, we need to also be able to take it beyond the holiday season. And so here we have the world. And the world is all about understanding. Sorry, this is not the world. This is the sun. So the sun to me has kind of similar things to the world, but the sun is all about highlighting and illuminating what we have to give, right? So if we're being generous and we're giving from the heart, we have to have faith in ourselves and in the bigger world that the gifts and the skills that we have are worth giving away, right? And when I say that, it's not giving away to the extent of, oh, I'm just going to give it away so that I can get loving back or I can get recognition. It's just saying, you know what, this is something I'm really good at. And so, you know what, I'm going to help somebody if they're in need. I like to think of kind of for me, the generosity is these readings that I do. I do them for no other reason than because I feel good about doing them and I feel good about sharing them. And if someone gets something out of these readings, then you know what? I'm going to stand in that spotlight of the sun. I'm going to stand in that glory. I have hidden in the shadows myself for a really, really long time and really doubted myself. And when somebody would send a compliment, I'd be like, oh, you know, not me, not me, someone else, look over there. But the sun is saying, no, it's time for you to really acknowledge the ways that you're being generous already and to acknowledge that you have skills and you have abilities that you can share with others without having to worry about what other people are going to say. Because when we're generous, right, that's where the string is when we're generous and we're giving from the heart, we're giving because of the feeling that we get, not because of what someone else is going to give to us, right? So if you're intrinsically motivated to share what you have because you share what you have and you go, wow, that felt really good, then that's, we're going back here to the hermit who's saying, how is it feeling in your body? And everything about that is how is it feeling? And does it feel good? And if it feels good, then accept the praise, accept what's being returned, but give from that place of, shining the spotlight on yourself. And our final card is adventure. And how can we meet the adventure of our life with open hand and open heart? And having ending with another water card, we have the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups, as you can see, she's turning her back and moving toward the horizon. And this is really it can be bittersweet because sometimes the Eight of Cups is about turning your back on relationships and turning your back on situations and walking away and having the courage to walk away. Because we're asking about adventure, what we're asking about is we're asking about, the message of the Eight of Cups in this situation is to say, if you want to go on the adventure, go in a direction that you don't know. We can't see what she's heading towards. We can't see what's over there. And because her back is open and she's wearing like even a wide open, like naked back on her dress, then she's not afraid of what's behind her. It's saying, I am completely exposing myself so that I can walk forward with confidence. And, she's in the water, the wind is blowing in her hair, the sun is out there. Like it looks like a beautiful day. So I feel that there's less of that, grief and heaviness of having to walk away from a situation in this, and more that sense of adventure, right? Like I kind of think of, when you have somebody riding off on the horse and the wind is blowing in the hair and all that kind of stuff. But here she is, she's off in the ocean and the birds are flying and everything. And there's this great sense to me of anticipation, of adventure, of going off somewhere where you don't know what's going to happen next. And so also being that it's a cup card, you really want to make sure that, again, you're being creative, right? If you want to go somewhere on an adventure, go somewhere, be creative, right? Like don't follow the same patterns. Don't say, oh, I'm going to go visit a new city. I'm going to stay in the same hotel that I stay in. I'm going to eat at the same restaurants that I eat in. I'm going to go to the same places I go, right? That's not what the adventure is about, right? The adventure is about what is something new? What is a new memory, a new emotion, a new connection that you can create. And also because she's all by herself, right? Like there's that indication that you don't need other people to go on an adventure. If they come, they're behind her, right? We don't see them, so we don't know who's following her. But she's the one that's leading the adventure. She's the one, right? Like, so by embracing adventure in our lives, what you're looking at is being able to say, I want to go here and I want to do this. And that sounds like fun. And so let's go. It's pretty exciting. So to kind of sum up, of the eight cards that we have three of the court cards, which, is kind of amazing to get three of the same suit of court cards. But also we have our beautiful Eight of Cups. And I would add that overseeing all of the emotions, all of the creativity is the star card because the star card also is a water card. And so it's very important to be able to be um, in this place. She's also Aquarius as well, so she is also connected with air. But of that, we also have three major arcana cards in here. So we're saying like this whole idea of connecting with Jupiter is the universe is there, right? The universe is just dying for us to ask and to play and to be open to receive whatever's out there. And it's important for us to allow ourselves to flow, let go of expectations, let go of attachments, let go of thinking that we know what we need to do because there's no like other than the star which is about being open to new ideas and new things from the universe. There's no air cards in here, right? So this is a very, it's the amount of water in here. This is a very feeling way to open up to the qualities of Jupiter. And, the other thing that we're being asked is to make sure that we're aligning, right? We've got a couple of fire cards here to allow ourselves to be seen and to allow ourselves to give what we know we have to give and to really align our energies with what it is. Because we're at the beginning, right? The Ace of Wands is really at the beginning and saying, hey, we can really create whatever it is that we want. We can really see whatever it is that we want as long as we're open and willing to make the changes. Because if we change it now, then half the work is all done because it's just making the choice and making the change. That's the hardest part. And of course, we have our loving hermit over here who is constantly telling us, take time it by yourself and feel where it is. Integrate, learn, embody all of these things so that you become that guiding light to other people just by really being grounded and being embodied in the truth that you have cultivated from your experiences. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope there's been a couple of little hits and landings for you as far as how you can open up to the qualities of Jupiter in your life, and that, as you go about your day and your week and your month and the rest of the year, that you will be keeping these kinds of things in mind as we go through the craziness of the holiday season. If you like this reading, please subscribe, like the channel. And I will see you again next week when we do our second variation of the qualities of Jupiter spread. In the meantime, take care and I will see you around.